It draws in more than 5,000 attendees every year, and Florida will play host to the event in 2015. The National Urban League Conference may be more than 2 years away, but there's a lot of planning to do for such a massive gathering of people from across the nation. And who better to explain than the Vice President for the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, Al Tucker. He's also a board member for the Urban League of Broward County. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Appreciate you having me.
2 years away, and as I said, absolutely a lot of planning.
Exactly.
In the beginning stages right now, where are you in making this happen?
Well, the first thing was getting the okay of the Urban League to come here. We've already established a local committee of business leaders to really look at the economic piece that we have to raise the dollars for to make this conference work. And we've already started a pretty good outreach for volunteers.
Now, with the Trayvon Martin case, was there ever any backlash in trying to figure out whether to do it or not here?
Well, in speaking with some of the leaders of the Urban League, we've had discussions, but at the end of the day, I think it'll be more powerful to be here as opposed to not be here. So the consensus is that they still want to be here.
I know that conferences involve obviously a lot of VIPs, a lot of panel discussions.
Right.
What is the utility these days of those types of panel discussions that, you know, some people they take with them and they are moved to do things.
Right,
Other
right.
people, they go to the convention, they might like to party a little bit, get some vendors. You know, how do you determine the utility of a panel discussion or a conference anymore these days to make it really effective?
Well, in most instances, you have to really make it relevant to where you're having your conference because it has to impact the community that you're serving at the time. But most of our urban areas around the country have the same problems: jobs, employment, housing issues, health issues. So the Urban League has a standing message of how it addresses all of those issues around the country, but they make it specific to the community that they're in.
This is billed as a national forum for debate. How would you explain to someone how the actual conference carries out that type of a billing?
Well, the first thing, wherever the Urban League comes, it brings top media from around the country, in some cases around the world. It always has impact from the White House, and it also has a political agenda that really goes along with the state that you're in. And with the state of Florida right now, our political agenda definitely needs some addressing. So we look forward to the Urban League being here and really setting the agenda for some of the things we have to do from a local and a state perspective.
And from a local and a state perspective, how difficult has it been to draw the younger community? Because whether it's the NAACP or the Urban League, there is this gap of sorts in terms of trying to get people to understand what these organizations are like, because the gap is becoming bigger in terms of those people who have had parents who have been at the inception or have grandparents with the Urban League. How do you share the message that this is important to, say, an 18-year-old?
Well, the good thing about the Urban League, in every section they have what they call the Young Professional Network, which really bridges that gap. And they have a national platform from youth to come to the national conference as well, so therefore you're having them close together. So that's something that the Urban League's been addressing for many years.
So you talked a little bit about how you begin planning the topics that are out there. Any narrowing down of what you're going to be looking at?
Well, our theme right now is going to be education and economics.
Okay.
When you look at Broward County in particular, and again around the country, education and economics has to go hand in hand, because without those two, it's going to really be difficult to really make a statement.
Obviously, this has some economic impact on the community.
Exactly.
What does it do for the community economically speaking?
Well, we look at it from an economic impact of probably more than $30 million, not only from the influx of travelers, but when you look at the media value that it gets as well. That's what some people don't ever really value, is the media value that it brings as well.
And we have about 10 seconds. Tell me a little bit about what your last experience was like at one of these conventions.
Incredible. It's just very uplifting. The last one I went to, I was met with President Obama. Couldn't have been better at the point in my life.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. Well, good luck with your planning, your planning community. I know that you have a lot to figure out. 2015 July is when it is coming. I thank you so much for being with us. This hour's newsmaker has been Al Tucker with the Urban League of Broward County. For Comcast Newsmakers, I'm Candace Kelly. Thanks so much for watching us.